episode of Airgun Detectives, where today we're going to take the mystery out of the Hatsan 1911 CO2 pistol. Before we get started, I wonder if you guys could all do me a big favor and hit the subscribe button down below. And in addition to that, if you want to know when our next videos are coming out, also click on the little bell there. And we could always appreciate a thumbs up at the end of the video if you like what you see, and we'll keep more of these coming. Okay, now back to the 1911. Okay, this is a Hatsan 1911 CO2. It's a non-blowback pistol. There's also several other models that are pretty much identical. Crosman makes a 1911 pellet model, identical magazine, and KWC actually has one out that's a non-blowback 1911. They're all the same gun. They have a dropout magazine that has a double rotating 6-round cylinders in here in which you load these, and these come off real easy. There's a little release button right here that pops up, these slide off, and then you load these, and you can actually load 2 at a time. You line that up so you load 2 at a time. What I would suggest if you do end up with this gun is you make sure you get a pellet seater, because you want to seat these pellets so that they're flush in here. Anyway, and then this just goes right back on the magazine, which is pretty simple, just like this. So then you have you've got your 6 rounds, so you fire your 6 rounds, and then you just pull the magazine back out, you flip it over, 6 more rounds. Takes the standard 12-gram CO2, as you can see I have one in here, and it's a full metal magazine, drops into the base of the gun just like that. A couple things about this. The slide in this is full metal. It's a nice looking gun. The hammer on this is completely cosmetic. It does nothing. This is a double action gun. One good thing about this is, I tested this out, you actually can put 1911 grips on this, but what you'll have to do, they actually line up just fine, but you'll have to use a Dremel or something to carve out the interior, because there's some swollen parts that are inside to be able to handle the CO2. But you actually could put real 1911 grips on this with some minor modification. The trigger, double action only. Yes, it's a CO2. Yes, there's nothing in it. I've checked it. It's completely empty. But you can see it's a double action trigger only. This is cosmetic only. As you can see, it really doesn't do anything. It just looks good. All right, Hatsan is claiming this gets about 425 feet per second with a 5.25 alloy grain pellet. That's obviously something we're going to test on the chronograph, and we'll see what type of true velocity we get. Now, the 5.25 grain alloy pellets are pretty doggone expensive, just to let you know. I think they're around $20–25 for 500. So that's pretty steep. So what we're also going to test this on some basic hobby pellets, the lead pellets, and we'll see how well that does. So hang with me, and we'll go try to take the mystery out of this gun. We're going to now do the chrony test on our Hatsan H-1911 and see what type of velocity. They're claiming on the box it gets 435 feet per second with 5.25 H&N green pellets. So guess what? We have some H&N green pellets, 5.25 grain. We're going to test those out for the first 6 shots. And then the second 6 shots, we're going to move on to lead pellets. They're just the basic RWS 7.0 grain. So first, let's see what we get out of these alloy pellets. All right, shot number 1. We got a fresh CO2 in here. Let's see what we get. 276 out of alloy pellet. Shot number 2. 296. Shot number 3. 328. It's going up a little bit. It's a fresh CO2, as I said. Shot number 4. 318. Back down. Shot number 5. 322. And shot number 6. That one was an error. But anyway, as you can see, not quite the velocity they're claiming. So let's see what we do with lead pellets. Now let's let the lead pellets, let's go with those. We got 7.0 grain basic RWS. Let's see what type of feet per second we got. Evidently, we were pretty disappointed with the alloy pellets. So let's see what we got here. Okay, shot number 1. 275. Shot number 2. 290. Shot number 3. 318, shot number 4, 316, shot number 5, 292, and finally shot number 6, 320. And that was a 7-grain lead pellets. Do have to say that's a little disappointing, but let's move on to the next test. Okay, we're back for a little accuracy test. Yes, I'm going to wear these goofy glasses again because they give you a better perspective of me actually shooting the gun. I want you to get a feel for it. Anyway, let's see what type of accuracy we get. The first segment I'm going to do is going to be alloy pellets. We're going to shoot 6 alloy pellets at our target, which is about exactly 10 yards away, so about 30 feet, which is that's what's good for these. And we're going to go ahead and shoot that, and we're going to come back and we're going to shoot lead pellets at the other target and see what better accuracy we get. So with no further ado, let's see what we got here. All right. And I'm just aiming dead. God, that thing goes down there slow. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now let's give the lead pellets an accuracy shot. The other ones, they weren't actually, as you can see, they were actually not a bad grouping. So let's see what happens with our lead pellets with no further ado. That's 3, 4, 5, 6. We had one misfire here. See if we can get that in here. There's our full 6. Okay, that's our 6 shots here. Let's, you know, overall, I just want to say, grouping's not horrible, but the velocity is just horrible on these. It really is. Anyway, let's move on to our next segment. Okay, no segment would be complete without a little plinking. As you can see by the our accuracy test, that our point of aim is definitely off. It shoots a little high into the left. So in order to compensate that, we're going to have to aim a little low into the right. So let's see how it does with the plinking. I put the alloy pellets in the gun, what was recommended by the manufacturers, the 5.25 greens, and let's just see how we do. So like I said, I'm going to aim a little low into the left, or to the right rather, and we'll see how we do. It's just, to be honest with you, the velocity, the accuracy is not bad. The velocity is just horrible. And then, obviously, we flip that over, pop the magazine back in, and you can continue to shoot. Well, you see, it doesn't do bad for plinking whatsoever. It's just, the accuracy is not bad, it's just the velocity. That's my big issue with this. But anyway, let's go on to the next test, and let's see what this trigger pulls at. It's not bad. It's a double action only trigger, but it's not bad. Let's go to the next segment and check that out really quick. Do a quick trigger test on our Hatsan 1911 and see what we have. It's a double action trigger. Keep in mind the hammer here is only for cosmetics. I probably covered that, but I just wanted to remind you that. So let's see what we have. We got our Lyman trigger gauge here, and let's just give it a little pull and see where we're at. 8 pounds, 4.3 ounces. So 8 pounds, 4.3 ounces. Not too bad considering. So let's move on to our next segment. Okay, so we went through the gamuts of our accuracy, chrono test, trigger pull, things of that nature. And now we just wrap this up with our final conclusion. First of all, as I told you before, I'm a little biased with the 1911s. I got this on sale, so I figured, hey, let's give this a try and see how well it does. I do have to say, I'm a little disappointed. First of all, let me talk about the positive things. The positive things, it's a metal slide, it's a non-blowback gun, but usually out of a non-blowback gun, you get a little extra velocity because that CO2 is not used to move the slide back. Obviously, in this situation, it's different. The velocities were subpar, way below what the manufacturer suggested or indicated that it would get. We didn't get the 425 feet per second, not even close. This does have fixed sights on it. If you go with one of the other models, like the Crosman model, it actually has the 3-dot sights, and it has a rail underneath the gun here. And since it has a rail underneath here, you could actually put a slide to hold some type of other sighting, whether it be a red dot or what have you. Then your point of aim wouldn't be an issue, because as you saw, the point of aim on this gun was definitely off. It was several inches high and to the left, so we had to compensate that for when we're plinking. And that's kind of unfortunate, because when you're shooting it, you would hope that the point of aim would be lined up. The trigger on this is double action only. It's a plastic trigger. The trigger's not horrible, as we said. It's about 9 pounds. It doesn't even feel that heavy when you're shooting it, because it's very controllable. The rest of the frame is plastic. The grips are plastic. The grip safety here is just molded in. I mean, the gun looks good for the price point. I mean, it's okay. But honestly, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in the lack of power and the fact it doesn't shoot at your point of aim for a pellet pistol. I'm going to actually have to give this one 1.5 stars. And the only reason it's getting 1.5 stars is because it looks good. Okay, and it had halfway decent grouping. Like I said, if we had a different sight system, then maybe this would have got a little bit higher. But what's really got me going is the lack of power. And I don't know if it's just this one specifically, but it definitely has issues as far as velocity goes. So with that, can I remind you, please do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. And if you like the videos, give me a thumbs up on this. And as I said before, I'm going to show you some good stuff, and I'm going to show you stuff that isn't so good. And unfortunately, this happens to be one of the guns that is not so good. So until next time, stay tuned to Airgun Detectives, where we take the mystery out of the airgun.